Hi, welcome back to Concept Mastery Primary 4. Alright, today we are going to look at squares and rectangles, which is an easy topic. So I think it will take about half an hour or even lesser, hopefully. So let's look at rectangle. Right, first part of the lesson is we are going to look at rectangle and see what are the properties of a rectangle. Now, a rectangle has right angles at the corner. That's what we learned last lesson. So rectangles have corners, right? And right angles are formed by two lines that are perpendicular to each other. So how do you recognize a right angle? If you see an L shape, right? Something that looks like a L, two lines that form a L, then that is a right angle, right? So you can see that the two lines, they form like a L shape. All right, now, if you are not sure whether it's a right angle, then you need to use a ruler to test whether it is a right angle. So that's what we did last week as well. Alright, now another property that we need to know is opposite sides. Alright, in a rectangle, opposite sides are equal. So you have a longer side, which is the length. Alright, the length is the longer side. Right, and these longer sides are equal. They are opposite, right? Opposite to each other. So equal. And then there's a shorter side. Okay, shorter side, you call that the breadth. Alright, and over here also the breadth. So opposite sides are equal as well. Okay, so these are the properties of rectangle. Alright, and then there's one more, which is parallel lines. Alright, rectangle has two pairs of parallel sides or parallel lines. And what are parallel lines? They are lines that don't meet and they are equal distance apart. And then there's another pair of parallel lines, which is the two breadth. So these two lines are parallel. Okay, so you have two pairs. So a rectangle has two pairs of parallel sides. Okay, now let's go to the questions now. How many right angles? There are 4 right angles. And there are how many pairs of parallel sides? There are 2 pairs. Alright, parallel sides means parallel lines. The opposite sides are where? So you have AB, which is one of the length, and you also have CD, which is the other length. So AB and DC. So the opposite side are AB and DC or DC. Now, how do you label the line? Now, the line is for the line has 2 letters, right? You call the line by the letters. So you have AB, the AB line, or you call it the BA line. All right, CD line or DC line, they are the same. You have also another pair of opposite sides, which are the two breadth, which is AD and BC. So these are the two breadth that are also opposites. So there will be AD and BC. Or is it BC? AD and BC, yeah. The two breadth that are opposite to each other. Okay, now, so this whole figure is a rectangle. Okay, that's what you learn in primary 1. Different kinds of shapes, right? Rectangles, squares, and so on. So this is a rectangle. Okay, now let's go to square. Now, square has properties as well. It's special from a rectangle. What makes it special? Now, squares has all sides equal. All the sides of a square are equal. And that's the first property. And squares and rectangle are similar in some ways. They have right angles at the corners. Okay, very important. Right angles at the corners. And squares and rectangle, they have 2 pairs of parallel sides. So you have the first pair, which is represented by 1 arrowhead. Then you have a second pair, which is represented by 2 arrowheads. Okay, so opposite sides are equal in a square. Alright, and the square has all equal sides. Okay, now let's go to the question. So how many right angles in the square? There are 4. And how many equal sides? There are 4 equal sides. Alright, and then there are how many pairs of parallel sides? So there are 2 pairs. Alright, 2 pairs of parallel lines. Alright, so you can see that the properties of squares and rectangles are actually very easy to learn, to understand. But you need to know these properties in order to do the area and perimeter that you will see later on. In order to do what? In order to do angles, right? Angles in primary 5 and upwards. So these properties are the foundation, right? You need to know these properties well, right? In order to build, right? In order to do something harder later. Okay, let's go to the problems, alright, the problems that you may see in your exam. Okay, ABCD is a rectangle. The length of BC, which is the breadth, is half the length of AB. So which means that the breadth is half the length of AB. So that must be 4 cm, right? So AD, what is AD? Now AD, if you look at this side, there's no number. Okay, there's no number. But what do we learn about properties of rectangle? Opposite sides are equal. So this has to be 4, right? And how about this side? What is the length? Opposite sides are equal as well. So that must be 8. So your AD is 4. And your CD is 8 cm. Okay? And what do you call the longer side of a rectangle? The length. And what do you call the shorter side of a rectangle? That's called the breadth. Okay? And if you're asked to find perimeter, what do? You add up all the sides. Length plus length, length plus length, plus breadth plus breadth. Okay, if you're asked to find the area of a rectangle, length times breadth. So how do I advise my students to remember, or how do I help them to remember? Now, if you are finding perimeter, you just have to remember plus 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 plus. Right? Perimeter has to do with adding plus. If you are finding area, then you times length times breadth. All right. So perimeter is plus plus plus. Area is times. Okay, let's go to another question. Now, PQRS is a rectangle. The longer side is 3 times. 3 times means 3 unit, and the shorter side is 1 time, like model drawing, right? 3 boxes, 3 unit, 1 box, 1 unit. And you can see that opposite sides are equal, right? Which means that your 1 unit is the same as 2 cm, right? 1 unit equal to 2 cm, which means that your PQ, of course, is 2 cm, right? PQ. So you got your answer here, alright? And can you find what is PS? PS is over here, which has to be same as the other side, which is also 3 units. So 3 unit will be 3 times 2, 6 cm. So your PS is 6 cm. Okay? So just remember, opposite sides in the square in the rectangle are equal. Okay, now the figure is made of 2 identical squares. So can you find the unknown side? Alright, so let's look at AG. AG is over here, right? AG. Alright, now, what is that? How long is that? Well, you look at the opposite side, alright, the opposite side, which is over here, right? Over here. So, what number is that? Well, there's a 3 cm on top, and then there must be a 7 cm below. Why? Because there's a square. A square has all equal side, remember? The square has all equal side, so this has to be 7, then here must also be 7, and so on. So you take 3 plus 7, which is your BC, BC plus your CF, that will give you 10. So your AG is 10. Okay, so you look at the opposite side. Okay, then how about your GF? Now, if AG is one side of the square, then you can see that this is a very big square and all the sides are equal. So your GF must be how many? Must also be 10, because every side is equal. All sides are equal. Okay? Alright, then how about your FE? Well, you just found FE is over here, which is your 7 cm. Right? Okay, and then how about your GE? Alright, where is GE? GE is, now if you find that you want to put the question mark but you don't know how to put, then you can always go back to something like model drawing. How do you indicate the arrow? Where do you put the arrow? Like this, something similar to your model drawing. You draw an arrow sign, and then you just add up 10 plus 7. Oh, your GE is 17 cm. So all the workings, all your numbers are put onto the drawing, so that it becomes clearer and clearer. So GE is equal to 17. Whatever numbers you have found, it is always good to add on to the drawing, right? Then it helps you to find other answers later. Okay, so we are done with question 3, and let's go on to the next one. Okay, now, okay, let me just double check to see we don't miss any question. Alright, so next one. Now, the figure is made of 3 squares. So 3 squares means all the sides of every square is the same. So how do we find WV? Now, WV is here, right? WV. And that has to be how many? All sides of a square are equal, so that has to be 4 cm, right? So WV is 4. And you may want to put down 4 cm here as well. And then of course this side is also 4 cm, right? Every side the same. What is XW? Okay, XW, I'm going to use a different color. I want to find here. Okay, what length is that? Well, if you look at your YX, which is here, YX, what number do you think that is? Or how long is that side? that has to be 3 because opposite sides are the same. Yx and pq, right? Opposite side of a square are equal. So now can you find xw? You take 13, which is the entire length from y to v, and take 13 minus 3 and minus 4, and you will get 6. Right? So your xw is 6 cm. Alright, what is RQ? Now, RQ is over here. Okay, let me use RQ here. Alright, so what number is that? Okay, now, might be a little bit hard to find. But if you notice carefully, can you see this square? Alright, all the sides are equal, right? So this is 3, then this must also be 3, right? 3. Okay, and what else? Now, then can you see the bigger square? Right, the bigger square over here, this is, how long is that? That must be, every side of the bigger square is 6 cm, right? 6. So you take 6 and you minus 3, right? You minus, okay, minus a 3 here, and you get 3. So your RQ is 3. Okay, why 3? Because if you look at the very big square, every side is 6 cm, right? 6 cm. So 6 cm, and you minus qx, which is 3, and you will get RQ, which is another 3. So your RQ is 3 cm. Okay, if you are confused, you may want to play back again and then just watch it one more time. Alright, how about ST? Now ST, I'm going to use maybe a green color to show you this is the line that we want to find. So what is ST? Well, if the side of the bigger square is 6 cm, remember? Just now we mentioned that this whole thing is 6 cm, and you minus 4, okay, minus 4, and you get 3. So your ST is, 6 minus 4 is 2, sorry, 2. Okay, so let me just try again. Alright, so 6 minus 4, you get 2 cm. So your ST is actually 2. So ST plus your TW, that will be 4, add together will be 6. And that will be the side of the bigger square. So every side of the bigger square will be what? Will be how big? How long? Will be 6 cm. So 6, that's why you have 2 plus 4, that's how you get 6, 6, and 3 plus 3 also 6. Okay, so your ST answer is 2 cm. So it's quite fun to find the unknown side. It's actually quite fun. Alright, it's like looking for treasure. Okay, anyway, let's look at number 5. Now, can you find AC and EF? Alright, the question marks are indicated. So how do we do that? Now, I want to find how long is this line. Okay, this line. So what do we do? Alright, now that's easy. Can you see how long is this side, which is opposite to GF? So that is 18. Then can you find how long is this side, which is opposite to ED? That is 7. So 18 plus 7, and the question mark is 25 cm, right? So your AC is 25. Then how about the other FE? How do you find FE? Okay, then let's use a different color. I want to find this side, FE. So do I know how long is this side? There's no number there, but you look opposite, which is CD. Can you see CD? Which is 21 cm. So opposite side in the rectangle is the same, right? So that's 21 cm as well. Then you take 29 and you minus 21, and that's how you get 8 cm. So your EF or FE is 8 cm. Okay? Right, so the trick is what? Opposite side. Look for opposite sides which are equal. Okay, now let's go to question number 6. Now the figure is made of a square and a rectangle. So what is FG? So FG is over here, right? FG. Okay, well, can you see there's a 21 cm, which is the side of the rectangle? And can you see, do you know what number is this, or what is the unknown side here? Well, we don't know, but you look at the opposite side of the square, and that is 11. So you take 21 minus 11, that gives you the question mark, which is 10. So your FG is 10, right? And then how about your BD? Okay, BD is the very long rectangle, a very long line. Okay, this line. All right. All right. So how do you find how long is that? Well, you look at opposite side. Can you see this side? How long is this side? Well, we don't know, but remember, you have a square, right? All the squares are equal. So this side must be 11. So opposite sides are equal. So your BC is also 11. Then how about your CD? There's no number on CD, but you look opposite. Can you see opposite side here, which is 22 cm? So your CD is also 22 cm. And then you plus them together, and you get 33 cm. So your BD is 33. Yep. Okay. So I think that's quite easy to that's not quite hard to work out the unknown side. Okay, now let's go on. All right, let's go to the last page now. We are coming almost to the end of the lesson. Okay, now the figure is made of two rectangles. So find GH. All right, now how do we do that? Well, can you see the 11 here? Always look at the side with a number, right? If you are asked to find unknown, the unknown side, then you look at other sides that have numbers on it. So 11, and can you see there's a 7 here? All right, and so what do you think is the unknown? How long is this unknown side? Which has to be 11 minus 7. So this is 4, right? The unknown side is 4. All right, then then can you look at the other rectangle, which is FE, right? There's a FE, and how long is the FE? That is 13. So 13 and you minus 4, that's how you get 9. So your GH is 9. Why? Because opposite sides are equal. So 9 plus 4 is 13, and it has to be the same as the opposite side, which is also 13. Right? So your GH is 9 cm. Okay, now let's go to question 8. Okay, now you have a square and a rectangle. So how do you find the question mark? Alright, so the square has all sides equal, right? All sides equal. That's the property that we learned. So here is 7. Alright, and then this must be, alright, opposite sides of a square are equal, 7. And then this is 5. Am I correct? 5. So you look upwards, you can see there's an 18 on top, right? 18. So you have 18 minus 5 minus 7, and you get the question mark, which is 6. Why? Okay, because opposite sides in the rectangle are equal. So 5 plus 7 plus 6 is opposite the line here, which is your AB, and they must be the same number. They must be 8. Alright, they must be 18. Alright, so the two opposite sides must be 18 cm long. Okay, so opposite sides in a rectangle, in a square, are the same. So what is your DC? What is your DC? 6 cm. Okay, and also just a quick recap. If you see a square, then all the sides of the squares are equal. Right, all the sides of a square are equal. Okay, so you can see it's not that hard to find, right? Okay, let's go down to another example. Now the figure is made of a rectangle and a square. So can you find AB? So if you see markings there, markings means what? It means the two sides are equal. Which side? This side and this side, they are equal. And there's also two markings. Can you see two markings? So the two lines are identical as well, equal. So which means that if this is 3 cm, then this side is also 3 cm, right? And opposite sides of a rectangle are equal, so this is also 3 cm, right? And then of course this one will be 3 cm as well. So what is AB? AB means you want to find how long is this line. So how long is this line? Question mark. Okay, so what do we do? Can you see a square? There's a square. Let me use a different color. There's a square here. All sides of a square are equal. So which means that this is 5. This is 5. And this is also 5. So can you find how long is AB? You take 3 plus 5 plus 3. And that's how you get 11 cm. So AB is 11 cm. Okay? So and that's it. All right, we come to the end of our lesson. All right, so what do you learn about this lesson? You learn about squares and rectangles. All right, the properties of rectangles. What are they? They have right angles at the corner, but in this lesson we are not using any angle to do anything. We are just looking at the unknown side. So what else do you know about rectangle? They have parallel lines, right? They have two pairs of parallel sides. And most importantly, the most important property that we need to know to do all these questions, opposite sides of a rectangle are the same, are equal. How about square? Square has all sides equal, right? It's different from a rectangle. The square has 4 equal sides, and they also have right angles at the corners, and square has 2 pairs of parallel lines as well. So if you know all these properties, then you should be able to do all these simple questions. All right. Okay. So we come to the end of the concept mastery lesson. So in the next lesson on concept mastery, we'll be doing decimals. Okay, decimals, and decimals is going to be a very big topic, and many students have a lot of difficulty. They forget how to do their decimal. So we will run through the basic, right? How to do decimals, and it will take about 2 lessons, right? So you have part 1 and part 2 as well. All right, so I'll see you on the next Tuesday.